When debating the issue of how to reduce the high levels of teenage pregnancy in Britain, the traditional focus has always been on young women. Sex and relationship education in schools is supposed to concentrate as much on the boys as the girls, but in practice this has not always been the case. And while much is being done to help teenage mothers, little has been done to tackle the issue of teenage fathers. This may be in part because school-aged fathers remain almost invisible as a group. We don't even know how many teenage fathers there are in this country. But even when these young fathers do come forward, many believe there is a lack of suitable knowledge and support to help them cope with becoming a dad for the first time.
There are significant numbers of barriers around young fathers being involved with their children. The social infrastructures are not there to allow these young men to actively participate in both the pregnancy, let's not forget that's very important, but also in the childcare afterwards.
All the evidence shows that when young fathers are offered reliable and sympathetic support, the impact on them, their children and their families can be profound. There are thousands of teenage fathers who want to do the best for their children, often in quite trying circumstances. We met some young fathers in Sunderland to find out, why do young dads matter?
Most of my mates who have got bands have split up and they didn't say the band where I want to be there. I want my daughter to have a dad and remember us.
I think that it's just as important for a dad to be there for the baby as it is for the mum, because me growing up without a dad, I've realised how hard it can actually be, and bringing my own experience into it, I think that I just want to be the best dad for my son because I've never really had one there.
B2B Plus is a unique multi-agency initiative in Sunderland which aims to provide a whole range of services for teenage fathers and mothers, recognising the significant contribution each parent has to offer.
He only took them out of the room for a minute and then brought them back.
In partnership with other local organisations, they run a series of courses for the young dads ranging from basic skills to parenting. The workers come from a variety of disciplines. They include childcare workers, nursery staff, health visitors and a school teacher. There's even a dedicated young fathers worker, Charlie Thompson.
I'm not a psychologist or anything like that, but the dads just open up and they've got so much inside that they want to talk about. And it only takes one dad to start talking about the feelings, and you cannot shut them up after that. They're in. And I never met one dad yet that didn't want to be the best dad in the world.
Charlie's been working with Lee for a couple of years.
I heard a lot about him off Jenna because my girlfriend knows him, and then she was saying, oh, he's funny, this and that. So I went on the course, and it's just class. You can talk to him like a young'un. He's just there for you if you need him. Oh. Put it on the floor.
Lee was 17 when he first discovered that his girlfriend was pregnant. Up till then, his life had been quite a turbulent one.
I was on the electronic tag at the time, and then the first day I got that put on, we got together, and then after the first 3 months, she felt pregnant.
What put in there? Clever girl.
I really didn't believe her at first, and then it sunk in a couple of weeks later, and then I went out and got a full-time job and started saving up straight away, like.
Research shows that if a father is actively involved during his partner's pregnancy, the chances of remaining positively in the baby's life are greatly increased. Nothing could have prevented Lee from being there at the birth of his baby.
I just lived down the road from the hospital, so I was there when she come off and that, so I got her in the hospital and that, and then it was just a long wait, really. But she kept falling asleep in and out of contractions and that.
It was just like saying, "You all right, darling," and stuff like that. Just one more push. And yeah, he held the gas in there for us and that. But he wouldn't cut our cord. He was too scared. And then when I did have her, I didn't see her for about 45 minutes or something, because he had her. And he was just standing there crying his eyes out and that, bless him. But he's probably not tell you that.
1 minute you see your girlfriend with a bump, and the next minute, bump's half gone, and then you've got your daughter. It's just, I couldn't explain it. It's just that overwhelming for me.
Do you want a bit of banana?
I'll give her a banana.
But when the initial euphoria following the birth had died down, Lee started to revert back to his old ways.
Well, I started knocking about with my mates because she finished us, and then I was only seeing the band once or twice a week with contact, and then she stopped the contact altogether, and then that's when it really hit home. Couldn't see her when I'm used to seeing her every day, and then it just made us like hit the drink a bit because I was depressed and that. And then out of the blue, a couple of months later, I texted her and she says, you can come and see the band. And then we've got back together, and then we've been happy since.
I think it was because he didn't see Ruby for a big length of time, and then when he did see her, she didn't have a clue who he was, and I think that really opened his eyes to change his ways and stuff. So that sorted him out. So it was shocked that he needed. What's that? Piglet. Go on then.
I dare say the best thing I like about her is when she's getting tired and you go, can I have a love? And she'll come up and kind of like that on you, and I just love it. It's class.
The B2B project is effective because the team have gone out into the community and worked with young fathers whoever and wherever they are. Charlie often visits them at home or meets them on street corners. His aim is to encourage them to take part in training courses which aim to unlock the skills and talents of the young men. It's this active participation by the young dads that helps them learn how to play a positive role in bringing up their babies.
Young dads are often seen as 50% of the problem, but actually they can be 50% of the solution as well, and they have a bad press. You know, they're not always particularly popular, and a lot of the young dads that we work with really want to be involved in their children's lives and work really hard to do that.
In Charlie's experience, teenage fathers need support not just on how to be a dad, but on a whole range of issues, both practical and personal. These might include housing and employment problems, or advice on family or financial matters.
Have you got any money through yet? OK, sort that out this afternoon. You've got to fill this jar with the salt, so the salt represents use, OK?
In the family nurturing class, the young fathers learn about issues such as empathy and self-respect, key building blocks for young men grappling with being a dad for the first time.
Because that's what can happen in a group. Somebody can take total control of a group, and the rest are not heard. And I don't know about you, but I like to be heard.
Charlie has many skills, and sometimes I don't think he even knows he's got those skills or recognises the skills. Charlie's able to negotiate with the young men, interaction and activities, either on an individual basis or on a group basis, or even just on a couple basis, at the right time, in the right place for these young men.
Because you all can't have the same colour, decide what colour you want.
He also has the ability to interact at a level that they want to interact at. He speaks to them as human beings, as spiritual beings. I think Charlie is quite a spiritual person, and I think that's a big asset in the work that he does, because he nurtures the young people as well.
I remember when I became a parent, I was absolutely terrified becoming a parent. I remember when the child was born, I cried my eyes out, and then I come outside, I made sure all my eyes was white before my friends saying it's a bit crazy, isn't it? You know what I'm saying? Hiding me feelings. I think because I share my feelings, which sometimes isn't seen as professional, but if you share your own feelings and show them that you're just a normal man or a normal person, then, you know, it'll open a door for them.
Many young fathers have a profound sense of isolation. Through group work sessions, Charlie offers them the chance to work together, share experiences and develop self-awareness.
That's excellent, mate. A good family has good communication. You learn good things or bad things.
Charlie's a very dedicated worker, and he's also very experienced in youth work. That's where his background comes from, and he has developed a way of working with the young men that requires him to be honest with them, but face issues and deal with issues that the young dads find important to them.
Charlie's success in working with young fathers stems from the fact that he comes from a similar background. He served his apprenticeship as a welder in the shipyards. It was a tough, all-male environment, and to survive, you had to learn how to fit in.
You went in, you learnt your trade, there was a man next to you, and he kept you in check. There was mentors there. Now, it depended which mentor you got. You were either learning bad things or good things. But because you were with certain men, you begin to work out who was genuine and who wasn't, who really took an interest in you. And I was fortunate I had some men around me that took real interest. And they knew I was a bit wayward. They knew I was a bit trouble. I lived my life, I suppose, having to be liked and working hard to be accepted.
Mentoring is a key ingredient in B2B's philosophy when working with young fathers.
They all want someone to talk to. And so you have to create an environment for young men to be able to open up in. And it can be anywhere, really.
Charlie's aim is to enable them to fulfil their roles and responsibilities as fathers, but the process takes time. He's working with groups of young men, many of whom have deep-lying personal issues, low self-esteem, problems with anger management, lack of male role models. Quite often it's one step forward and two steps back.
Something I see in myself was that I can see it in them as they're trying to progress through life. When everything's against them, you can almost see the frustrations, the anxieties, the anger, the aggression.
Although being a dad for the first time has changed Lee's life, his past has caught up with him. He's been up in court today on a serious charge which could end up with him being given a prison sentence. It would result in him being separated from his partner and his baby. Charlie's been waiting to hear how things have gone.
Sorry, mate. Ali, how's things? Everything went well this morning?
Aye, well, aye.
Good. So you're free?
Aye.
Good, excellent, good. How are you feeling?
Spot on. Now it's adjourned and that.
Happy?
Get Christmas.
Good.
Aye, good.
So when's it adjourned to?
7th of January.
What'd they say? Just adjourned?
Well, I need to ask you, see if you could do a reference for us and that.
A reference?
Aye.
Right.
And then I need to ask John and Stu and that, then hopefully suspended sentence.
Oh, well, that's
so
good.
it's looking good.
Excellent. So you're pleased, eh?
Aye.
Well, that's good. We'll get cracking then.
Hey, bother.
Yeah, excellent.
Research suggests that the boys most likely to become teenage fathers are those who are excluded from school. Kieran is 16 years old. He was excluded in year 9. He still lives at home, but since the birth of his baby, he spends most of his time at his girlfriend's parents' house. At an age when most young men are still at school, he's off to pick up his 18-month-old daughter from nursery.
Dear me, who's this? It's Olivia's daddy! Who's this? He's daddy?
I done everything for the first week and second week, like while she was in hospital in bed and all that. But after that we took turns, like getting up on the night and changing her nappy and feeding her and matting the bottles. Big responsibility.
Oh, clever girl. Come with me. She's had a nappy change and she's been playing. Haven't you? You've got some juice and a biscuit. Oh, clever girl. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye. 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 See you later, Kieran. Bye.
If I wanted to change things, like if I could go out and change things, I wouldn't have had a band this early because I've got no money yet. I should have gotten a job and house and all that.
How tough is it being a young father?
Kind of tough because you've never been taught how to be a dad yet until you are one and you learn.
Yeah, you gotta leave it on.
My mates were just shocked. All my dad said was it's better finding out now than like 10-year time when she comes knocking on the door. saying that, is asking to see if my dad, like, my dad's there now. Oh. Better to be there for your kids, innit? Teach them things what not to do, and learn them not to make the same mistakes what the dads did when they were younger. That's the most important part. Stopping school, don't get kicked out, and good paid job, house, family. Just not too soon. That's all. If she had a lad, I think it would have been different. But with being a lass, you're more protective, aren't you? Well, it's love on it.
Teenage fathers like Kieran do want to be involved with their children, but the transition to fatherhood can be confusing.
But supposing a girl was pregnant, right?
Many young men feel they lack clear information and support from both family and professionals. Most of the advice given in schools to young people about pregnancy and sexual relationships is aimed at girls, but it is important that the message gets through to boys too.
We usually find, right, that when a young girl's pregnant, a lot of our services are geared towards the girl, right? And we'll totally help the girl and we'll totally look after the girl and help her through the pregnancy, but there's not a great deal for boys.
I was a head of house before I was an assistant head teacher, and I can honestly say I have never dealt with a teenage father, and I've been in Thornhill 10 years. I've never dealt with one yet. Any of the citizenship lessons that I've been involved with, there's been very little done on that topic. It's always been young mums, where are young mums going to go, what support is there? And you can understand the support having to be there for the young mums because they're the ones going through the actual biological side of things. But for the emotional and psychological side of things, there's very little at the moment for young fathers, which is a concern.
I think the issue of young fatherhood in schools is handled very, very badly. I think schools are better at dealing with young motherhood. But the issue is that young mothers become physically apparent very quickly. Young fathers do not.
I'll be honest, I think it's luck or it's never come to us. You automatically hear about the girls because with the girls, you've got to hear about it because there's the health and safety issues within school. They're getting bigger, they're walking into school, and you've got to deal with that situation. With the lads, I mean, no doubt there will have been lads within the school that are young fathers or are becoming young fathers, but you don't hear about it because it's either swept under the carpet or by the parents and by the children, or it's dealt with outside of school, and there's no signs there that you're knowing about it.
If you went home tonight and said to your mum and dad, "Mum, I'm pregnant," or "Mum, Dad, my girlfriend's pregnant," what would your parents say?
Probably like shouted us really badly.
Yeah, parents would go ballistic, wouldn't they? Yeah? Why do you think they would go ballistic? Why do you think they would go mad?
Because they don't expect our age people to have sex and things like that.
Yeah. Is that...
Just because like we're really young, so they don't think we could probably like cope with the baby.
If a young person comes to me and they've got their girlfriend pregnant, I would counsel them. I would ask them how the relationship is now. If they needed further advice, I would then contact Charlie by telephone and I would ask Charlie if he would have time to see this young person to give further information.
Are we ready? Here we go. Well, that was a donut, wasn't it?
Most young dads want to be involved in their children's lives. All the young men we met expressed anger at the stereotype that all teenage fathers get the girl pregnant and then leave. They demonstrated a warmth and an intense commitment to their children. They wanted to be a part of their children's lives, including learning how to take care of them both physically and emotionally. An exceptional group of teenage fathers? Maybe, but maybe not.
Has any of the courses helped you in your relationship?
Aye, because you've been there and I've had a bit of argy-bargy with Jenna. So aye, you were there for us, come to the call group and that. Well, I couldn't have done it myself, I couldn't have went myself. So
with the support from other dads as well.
I just didn't want Dad's crack on and that.
I've got a 7 weeks old baby, and I'm living with my girlfriend at my mum's at the minute.
Were you there for the birth? What was it like?
It's all right, good.
Good. Okay. Frightening. I cried my eyes out. And you just cried?
I did a bit.
Cried my eyes out.
What was yours like then?
Slept all the way through the night, from the age of about 4 months.
Mine's still not.
Still doesn't now.
Still doesn't.
Put her down at 7 at night and she would sleep right through to about 8 the next morning. Once he gets on his feet, you know, when we pull the setup on the city, that's when the stop. Oh, it'll not be long now then. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, he'll be walking to bed.
Walked in his bedroom this morning, his little head was popping over his cot like that.
Young fathers projects like B2B Plus can have a long-lasting impact on young men. It can literally change their lives. Paul never really knew his dad, which is why he strives to be a good father to his son, Kai. He contracted meningitis when he was 12. He lost the fingers on his right hand and both his legs below the knee. When his girlfriend Sarah became pregnant, he didn't know what to do or where to go for help.
When I met Charlie Thompson, he just knocked on my door one day, turned up, and he introduced himself and who he was, and he tried to get me and Sarah interested in some antenatal courses, but at first we were having none of it, and then he just kept coming and trying to egg us on to go, and eventually we thought we'll give it a go. When we actually first went to the first antenatal class, and they were starting to show us stuff we would have to do for the baby, that's when I realised, well, I didn't know how to do any of that really, so it helped us quite a lot. Kai's brilliant. He's you've never seen anything like it. He can, especially when he come out with his first words, which were Dad, and that really hit the heart, and it was really good. And when I see him crawling about the floor and stuff like that, it's just out of this world.
There she is. Say hi, Mum. Yay!
Being on these courses that I've actually been on with Charlie, it's a lot easier to actually be emotional, because they actually train you up and make you say how you feel and make you know who you are. And for a dad, I think it should be just as easy as a mum to feel emotional, definitely. 8.5-month-old baby, and I'm living with my lass Sarah.
I suppose I used to deal with behaviour, and what I never ever dealt with was feelings. And when I came into the work, what's happened is that I've become to learn that I've gained the knowledge of understanding that every behaviour comes from a feeling.
Give him Paul and I.
And I think you have to develop a skill and a passion and a trust from other people for them to be able to talk about their feelings.
Charlie's been my mentor. He's been by us all the time, and he's stuck by us, and he's tried to guide us in the right path, which I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Charlie. I just really want to put across that there can be actual help out there, and people can help you get through life and sort your life out and stuff like that.
Kai.
Successful work with young fathers requires dedicated professionals like Charlie, who can draw on their own experiences to help today's young dads make the right choices in life.
I believe young people can be empowered to become far better equipped parents and to be able to assess themselves and the structure, the family structure that they're in. And I really believe that. And I like a challenge as well, because I know what a challenge I was. And because one person took time, then, and I can see the change that it had in my life because one person took time. So if we take that time out, put that time into somebody's life, it can change the full life. It can lighten up a family's life. And when you see it, it's wonderful.
Night, night, Ruby. People do change. Like myself, I'm not. I've calmed right down now. I've been there, I've done it, and I know the people like us get looked down at. Right, snug as a bug. But that's when the young dads prove the other people wrong and show them that they can do it. It might be hard, but in the long run, it's worth it. Right, darling.
I can't guarantee happiness for them. But if they can work out and work through conflicts and understand that conflicts will be there, if we can give them a better start and cause them to have a greatness awareness how to deal with problems and how to put the very, very best into their lives and into the lives of others and not to hurt anyone, then I'm happy.
Is that good?
Whee!
Whee! Darling. Whee! You are.